Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Metamystic Show. It's great to have you. Today, we are going to be talking about a very complex topic, even though it should not be complex. It should be the most obvious thing in the world, but for many reasons, it's not. We're talking about choosing yourself today. I'm going to start off by saying I have a particular lean when it comes to this. When it comes from me having to work through how to choose myself. A lot of us here are empaths. A lot of us here are spiritual people who struggle with choosing themselves. And I will go a step further on that, which is how I grew up, specifically in the Christian religion. Choosing yourself was not an option. It wasn't just that it was deemed selfish to choose yourself or that it's a more selfless path to take, to choose the group. Those were things that I also believed. But when it came to me choosing myself, that was not allowed. Literally, that was not allowed. I literally received a text a couple weeks ago accusing me, telling me that I am not my own. I am not allowed to live my own life. And of course, those things are said through a biblical lens. And if I was in a different group of people right now, I'm talking to you guys. But if I was in the church, it would be a completely different. I truly feel like I came out of a cult, personally. I feel like I came out of a lifelong psychosis when I had a spiritual awakening at the end of 2021. And you can hear a lot about this part of my story on the first 2 seasons of this show. You can find it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, as well as on YouTube. So I'm not going to go deep into that, but I do want to say that I heard a voice that told me to stop doing prophetic ministry. I had built my own ministry from the ground up. I was told to stop doing that. And at the time, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand what was happening to me. And that led me down the rabbit hole that I went down from that point until today. So I don't want to go too biblical with it today, but I can't not talk about that when it comes to choosing yourself, because that for me is one of the main things I have struggled with through my life, is choosing, Lover's card, myself, 9 of Pentacles. I honestly just had to take a deep breath on that, because it triggers like all of my CPTSD symptoms. It triggers my fight or flight. It makes me feel like I'm going to throw up. I was not ever allowed, not once, to make my own decisions. And I will also caveat this by saying, I also grew up in a particular system that is textbook narcissism. And I'm not going to go deeply into that either, just to protect my privacy. And until I feel cleared that I could speak more on this and still be safe, if I'm really just freaking honest with you guys. I've been waiting for the clearance for this for the past 2 years and had to talk about this stuff publicly while still protecting myself. But But I will say that with the Six of Cups here, Six of Cups is notoriously a card of nostalgia and thinking about the past and thinking back on your life. In the high vibration of the Six of Cups, it can be soulmates. It can be the equivalent of listening to a summer song with your windows down, driving by the coast, listening to a song that reminds you of when you were young. But on the negative side of the Six of Cups, the Six of Cups can talk about people from your past, especially with these three cards together. These are the three cards I pulled for this episode: the Lovers, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Six of Cups. These are our main cards. Six of Cups can be people from our past. Six of Cups can be family members. Six of Cups can be past people in general. And so I can't talk about what I want to talk about today without talking a bit about my past and how I got from being completely Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. I had no autonomy. I've talked about this on my show before, but not to you guys. I talked about it on my other channel, and I want to bring it to the main channel. I've been afraid to talk about this stuff out of the context of the Christian deconstruction movement. And if you don't know what that is, type in Christian deconstruction on YouTube. I actually consider myself that I've deconverted. It's not just a deconstruction. A deconstruction is like you pick apart your beliefs and you see what you want to keep and what you want to throw away. That's how it began for me. But over time, I ended up completely coming to a state of disdain for specifically this topic that I'm talking about today when it comes to choosing yourself, that I was not allowed to make one decision on my own. Again, my story is on more of the extreme side of the spectrum, so people coming out of Christianity would probably look at me like I'm, exaggerating or I'm being too harsh on people and whatever. But I will, so that's why I need to qualify what I'm saying with the Six of Cups, that my specific upbringing also involved a certain form of narcissistic abuse that it's like religion was used as a means to control me, because those people knew that I would never go against God. Like, they knew that I was pious. They knew that I was giving my entire life for Christ. For those of you who don't know, I used to be a Christian minister. I was a minister for 10 years, and before that, I worked with my parents. They're both ministers. Before that, I was always involved in the work. I was an evangelist. I was fully committed to that way of life since I was an early child. So now that I've given the preface, or the disclaimer really, that when I'm talking about choosing yourself, I'm speaking of it from my own lens and apply it to your life where it applies for you. What does choosing yourself mean to you? Does it mean taking time for yourself? Nine of Pentacles can be time. Pentacles can always be time. If you feel like people are always pulling on your energy, like I said at the start of this episode, many of us are empaths. Many of us care for people. Many of us care for the people that nobody cares about, right? And so when we do that, there's this other side of it where if we care for the people that nobody cares about, if we pull our energy away, those people have become addicted to our energy. And I'm not saying that we don't help people. I'm not saying that I'm speaking of it from a vantage point of somebody who gave her entire life to that position from a minister point of view. I used to spend like 6 hours a day responding to people's emails, praying for people, all for free. You know what I'm saying? For many, many years, I did that stuff. So I'm not saying it like, oh, well, just shut your phone off, just ignore people, especially if people are relying on you. But there's a difference between being a person that is entrapped and ensnared in these narcissism empath dynamics. And not everybody is a narcissist that you're dealing with. I'm just saying, if you are an empath, it is a very common thing for empaths to attract narcissists. We're the most juicy, we're the fattest calf, so to speak, for the narcissists, for the energy vampires. Okay. Oh, well, they struggle with drugs and they have no one but me. Just because somebody is at a disadvantage, and I'm speaking from, let me just say, my own younger brother died of an OD. So I'm not, just everything I'm saying is from a particular point of view. Okay, this is not like just me talking out of my ass. This is from many, many years of experience in from my own family, from my own friends, from my own congregation. I was a part of many different groups, many different churches, many different... So anyways, for those of you who are new, who don't know who the hell I am, that's who I am. So anyways, let's get back to this. For you, it may be time, Nine of Pentacles. Oh, I need time for myself. I feel burnt out. I feel like I'm at my wit's end. I feel like I don't have a second for myself. If you feel that way, remember, we're talking about choosing yourself today. If you feel that way, we have dipped into toxicity. You should never be helping people out of a place of deficit. And if you are, then you are just as toxic as the ones who are draining your energy. I know that's a controversial statement. I am talking about an empath narcissist dynamic. Again, not everybody's a narcissist. Oh, well, that person is a drug addict and I'm helping them. Back to my example before. Just because somebody is in a position where they need help, that doesn't mean that they can't be dangerous. That doesn't mean that they can't be a covert narcissist or a vulnerable narcissist. A vulnerable narcissist is one who is a narcissist, just like a grandiose narcissist, just like a narcissist who comes in the room and thinks that everybody needs to worship them and praise them and stuff. It's another form of a narcissist where a person can be a drug addict, a person can be disabled, a person can be somebody who is at a loss in their life, who doesn't have any money and doesn't have anyone but you, Nine of Pentacles. That same person can be a narcissist, right? Okay. This is a very particular, because I don't even like to use the term narcissist because it's become such a freaking buzzword, dude, that it actually, if I'm honest with you, it makes me sick. It makes me a little sick. Okay. I'm talking about real narcissists, textbook narcissists, right? I'm not talking about your asshole ex who never bought you flowers. I'm not talking about that. There are assholes, right? They're in their own category. I'm talking about people who are dangerous. I'm talking about people who will tell you in a very tricky way that choosing, Lovers, Nine of Pentacles, that choosing yourself is actually evil in some way. It's not just like, oh yeah, but where do you think you're going, Chariot? Where are you off to? Oh, I'm going out with the girls tonight. And then, maybe there's a difference between being in like a codependent relationship, for example. Like maybe your significant other doesn't want you to like go out with people or something. That doesn't mean they're a narcissist. That can be a different problem. That can be codependency, right? So we can go off on many different tangents today, but I want to specifically stick to, just from my own lens, a couple things that I have to offer when it comes to the more extreme side of the spectrum, when it comes to narcissistic abuse, when it comes to cult mentality. I came from Christianity, yes, but not all Christianity is the same Christianity, right? I came from a specific blend of Christianity that was used to control me through people that would have been controlling whether they had a religion or not. They used the religion and they used the naivete, my naivete. They used that against me. They used my good heart when I was younger, and all I wanted was to just give my whole heart to God, right? And just live out why I was here on this planet. They used that and twisted it and put their hands around my throat so that I would have to listen to what they were telling me was true. So now let me get back to this. Choosing yourself can sometimes mean that we have to break off from certain people. Six of Cups. Choosing yourself is not always just like, oh, just some self-care. Let's have a beautiful bath with some rose petals. Let's do our nails. Let's go out on a nice night on the town. Whatever. And I'm not saying that they're not all good things, and that we don't all need self-care and that we shouldn't. I mean, Nine of Pentacles is the queen of self-care. Male, female, non-binary, however you identify. It doesn't matter. Nine of Pentacles is like self-care personified. She knows how to take care of herself. She is autonomy in a card. But what happens when self-care is, it's like it's not cutting it. It's not what you need. What if choosing yourself requires a departure, the Chariot? What if choosing yourself means having to leave, Wheel of Fortune, old karmic cycles? This can include Six of Cups, Wheel of Fortune, family, friends, lovers, our old paradigms and patterns and behaviors and traits, right? Choosing yourself is not always so cut and dry. It's not always so simple, is it? Because why do so many people feel bound and trapped? Why do so many people feel like they can't escape the torment of their own life, Wheel of Fortune? And this could be very subtle. It could be like a subtle, annoying feeling, always going in the background, where you feel like you don't have a second to yourself. You don't have a moment to relax. You don't have enough money, enough time, enough something. Like, I'm just hearing the phrase like, why can't I just be happy? I just want to be grateful and happy and full of life. And Nine of Pentacles, Lovers, it's like these cards are full of this golden hue. It's a happy yellow color. It's like a lot of us in the spiritual communities, we just want to feel all right, right? Religions talk about this as well. But at the end of the day, I found it in my own life, and I've found it in the lives of many others after speaking with so many different types of people from all over the world, third world countries. I've talked to people in all different socioeconomic situations, different cultures, different languages. So this is not just something that's like, oh, well, you're speaking from a specific perspective. No. I have enough that I can pull from my own background where I can confidently say across the board that many people struggle with choosing themselves because of what that means, right? It's not just like having a night out with the girls and leaving the kids home with dad. It's much more complex than that for most people. And it can be more subtle for some people. Well, if I start choosing myself, then my marriage is going to end in divorce. Well, that's something to think about, isn't it? Well, I don't want to get a divorce. Why would a divorce be on the table for you taking a little extra time? You know what I'm saying? And again, you know what I mean? I'm not here to like stir up any drama in your life. I'm just here to get us to think a little bit about what it really means to be happy. What is happiness? It starts by choosing yourself, because happiness is different for every person, right? My happiness might not be your happiness. You may be doing something that literally lights up your soul. And for me, I'm like happy for you. I'm happy that it makes you happy. But for me, it just doesn't do the same thing, right? So the first step to happiness and to living a life that feels more happy is choosing yourself. But this is the hard part, and that's why I'm having to make this episode today, right? Is because sometimes choosing yourself means losing other people, right? Because sometimes choosing them means losing you. And for many of us, we're empaths. Many of us are people that are self-sacrificial, where we see things from a higher point of view. We see things from a spiritual perspective. On the Lover's card, there's this angel here. It's a high vibrational love. It's something that not everybody can comprehend. It's a self-sacrificing love where you will put somebody else above you or in front of you as a means of being like God in the world. And there are polarities to this conversation. What I'm interested in today is you. And how do we get you feeling like you have more control and autonomy over your own self and your own life? Because like I said, I'm somebody who came from a self-concept that was absolutely neglectful of my wants, my desires, my needs, my authenticity. I mean, I was not my true self. I turned off all of the things that I was, number one, in order to fit in with a religion, Christianity, and number two, in order to keep Six of Cups, the people in my life. Because for me to choose myself meant going against them. And that was not my doing. You know, on the negative side of the Lover's card, the Lover's card is, traditionally the card of the choice, right? On the negative side, the Lover's card can be an ultimatum. Six of Cups lovers. There have been many times in my life where I was actually given an ultimatum. Now we can take it from a religious side where it's like, if you do this, Missy, the fact that you're queer means you're gonna burn in hell for all of eternity. Okay, that's something that many people can relate to. On a more niche side of my story, choosing myself meant that I would lose my family, right? Because choosing myself was choosing my beliefs, right? Choosing myself was choosing the way I dressed, the way I talked, the way I presented as a human being. Choosing myself honestly meant death, literally, because it wasn't just, oh, you're queer, you're going to hell. It was everything in your life is going to fall apart until it literally kills you because you're running from God. So it was, and I'm just using this as one example. There's literally like 10 examples I can give of all the times that I felt like I couldn't choose myself or I couldn't be myself or what have you. But I'm just going to use this, I'll use my sexuality as an example. Dead or alive, I was convinced by these people and by the religion that I would perish. That I would perish while I was alive, that everything that I set my hand to do would fail, that I would have no one and be alone and have nothing, and the devil would get me and the demons would come to me in my dreams and, completely tear my life apart, and nothing that I ever did would be successful because I was living in sin. That's according to the Christian religion. Now going a step deeper, like I was saying, when it comes to the narcissistic abuse factor, I now see that these things were used as bargaining chips and ultimatums, the lovers on the negative side of things, in order to keep me hooked, trapped, and not standing in my power in any way, right? Because that meant keeping me in the position that I was. Keeping me trapped and keeping me stuck was presented to me actually as the highest form of love. And that's when it gets really tricky. Buy merch to support the channel. Links down in the description. Thank you all. Choosing yourself is not easy. Choosing your own thoughts, your own ideas, Ace of Pentacles. You may be given an idea from the universe, a very high vibrational idea. Ace of Pentacles with the lovers can be like an idea that is filled with high vibrational love, where if you take this idea and bring it to humanity, it can literally, Wheel of Fortune, change the world, right? And so things get really tricky when Six of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, you tell these people, Six of Cups, or they just see you live in it, right? Maybe you're not even in contact with some of these people. I'm not. Maybe you're similar. Six of Cups, it's like you tell these people about your idea, and it's like they look at you like you're a traitor. And you're looking at them like you're speaking another language. What do you mean? This was a high vibrational idea that came directly to me from Ace of Pentacles, God, Source, the divine, however you identify your higher power, right? Or even if you're an atheist, this can just be an idea that comes from you, from the inside of you. I often look at the Ace of Pentacles as like your whole self, you know? Nine of Pentacles, it's like Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, you may be given a new self-concept. Or you may just realize that, hey, this is who I am. This is what my beliefs are. For me, choosing myself meant going against God, going against my family, going against who they perceived me to be, right? So for me, choosing myself was losing everything that I ever knew. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm actually giving you about 15% of my true story today. Six of Cups. Choosing myself was the Chariot. Choosing myself was moving away from the city, moving away from everything I ever knew in order to choose this new perception of the world, Ace of Pentacles, that I was given from a higher source. The Lovers, the Wheel of Fortune here, Ace of Pentacles. I was given in the form of a spiritual awakening, an idea, an understanding, a new set of beliefs that caused me to leave behind what I used to believe in. And I truly thought that there would be more people coming with me, and there just weren't. And so that's why I bring up these things today when I'm talking about choosing yourself, because sometimes choosing yourself is literally choosing yourself. Nine of Pentacles, being on your own, having to start over from the beginning. Ace of Pentacles is the seed. It's the new thing, right? You may literally have to start over again, depending on how extreme your situation is. Could just be, that you are wanting to better yourself. Ace of Pentacles, you're wanting to get more in connection with your spirituality, with your body, with your... The Ace of Pentacles to me can be a card of the soul, a card of feeling whole in who you are, right? So for you, it may be that you're literally just bettering yourself. You're just improving your self-esteem, Ace of Pentacles. You're learning how to stand in your own power, Nine of Pentacles. You're sharpening your skills. You're becoming a better version of yourself, right? Sometimes doing that means, Six of Cups, maybe your old friends are not going to resonate with that. Hey, you used to come out drinking with us 4 times a week. Why don't you do that anymore? You're not even part of the group anymore. It's like you're going to the gym 4 times a week instead of drinking your face off. I mean, I used to be an alcoholic, and Spirit. I was an alcoholic let me just say this. I've been sober for about 7 years now from alcohol. Let me say there was a point in my life where I was drinking every single night. I would wake up with bruises all over my body. I hit my head so hard one time on the pavement that I remember walking up my friend's staircase because I was sleeping over her house because I was so drunk I couldn't even go home. I remember I was walking up the stairs after I had hit my head. This was the next day, right? I was walking up the stairs and I almost fell back. I should have gone to the hospital. I had some sort of a concussion. What I'm here to say is that was one of the lowest points of my life when I was drinking like that, just as an example. And there was then a period of time, I also was a smoker as well. I used to smoke 2 packs a day, very compulsive behaviors. I would just sit and like smoke cigarettes. Then what happened to me, Ace of Pentacles, was I hit this point where, well, actually I had this vision of myself drowning under the waves of the ocean. And a hand, Ace of Pentacles, reached out to me and grabbed me and pulled me into the boat. And at that point, I knew that I needed to leave those things behind. It started off with me going cold turkey, stopped drinking. At that time, every friend I had was drinking all the time. Person I lived with as well at that time. So what I'm trying to say here is it's like this hand reached out, and my first step was I went cold turkey that I wasn't going to drink anymore. Still smoked all the time. The next hand reaching out, Ace of Pentacles, was and I just can't even believe how hard it was for me to make these decisions, where I knew that I had to stop smoking cigarettes. And so this idea came to me, Ace of Pentacles, like, okay, why don't you just switch to vaping? I remember I was traveling to Florida with my family, and I had gone cold turkey, no cigarettes. I was so sick. I had to go to the doctor. I developed this crazy bronchital thing. I was having literally coughing up black tar. And this went on. I literally felt like I was detoxing from like heroin or something. I don't know if I was ever as sick in my life as I was when I got off of cigarettes. I switched to a vape. I was using a vape for a couple years, I would say. Then the hand came again. This was the third hand that came to me, Ace of Pentacles, and was like, it just started as an idea. Ace of Pentacles can start as an idea. I didn't put a bunch of pressure on myself, but the idea came to me, hey, Missy, why don't you get off the vape too while you're at it? And this was a while later. This wasn't like the next day. This was a while later. And I let the idea germinate. If an idea comes to you and it's a hard thing to do, don't put too much this is my advice. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just take the Ace of Pentacles, take the pentacle, take the idea, take the inspiration, take the advice or the I don't know what to term it. Just take what the hand of God, Ace of Pentacles, is showing you, which could be your higher self handing you this information. You don't know. Let me use myself as the guinea pig in this example. If I continued smoking cigarettes, maybe I would have died from that one day. You know, maybe I would have died of lung cancer, and my higher self knew that, right? Just as an example. Now, my advice is when an idea comes to you and it feels like a challenging thing to do, because the drinking, I knew it was literally killing me. The cigarettes, same thing. With the vape, it wasn't like bad enough for me to want to quit, if that makes sense. It was kind of like the same feeling of like, hey, you should start working out more. And, you know, of course, we all should work out more, right? You know, we should all be healthy. For some reason with the vape, I kind of didn't want to do it because, you know, it's oral fixation. I'm a very like neurotic sort of person, and it's very comforting for me to have something that it's a comfort. So I didn't want to give up the vape. I was like, I gave up the cigarettes. It's good enough. But the idea persisted. So this is my advice. Just sit with the idea. I sat with the idea for like a month and just kind of let myself think about it. I thought about, well, what could my plan be? Maybe I can cut down on the level of nicotine that I was ingesting, because you can buy like different like juice that, is higher or lower nicotine, essentially. I played around with that. I decided to go forward with it because the idea, it's like it planted like a seed in my heart, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. So I came up with a plan where I would just I started going down on the nicotine. I started getting, different vapes, and I went from one type of vape to another type of vape, and it was a process, and it took me a few months. And then finally, I was just like, all right, I'm done with this. And I kicked it. And it's been like 3 or more years, I would say, since I've had a vaping addiction. So I left alcohol, I left cigarettes and vaping. And my point of saying all that is, it's this Ace of Pentacles. Sometimes choosing yourself is choosing your health over an addiction. That's another side of this thing. Sometimes choosing yourself means you need to leave certain people, right? Or they'll just kind of fall off on their own because your vibration has raised. Wheel of Fortune. There's this snake on the Wheel of Fortune that talks about raising your vibration. If you raise your vibration, the same people that you used to hang out with that do that stuff that you left behind, you're not going to be in resonance anymore. And you'll just kind of naturally grow apart for the most part. Sometimes, like I said, more extreme examples with me, for me to choose my beliefs and to choose myself and my autonomy, unfortunately, it was either I had to choose myself or I had to continue being Nine of Pentacles in the reverse in order to comply with the set of rules and standards within the religion and within my family system. It was either me or them, in other words. Not everything is an ultimatum like that. The Lovers in the reverse. Not everything is an ultimatum, but sometimes it is. So it could be choosing yourself in that way. It could be choosing yourself by taking more time for yourself. Nine of Pentacles really knows how to balance out her time. She knows what she needs to do for her to feel balanced and grounded and in control of her money and her life and her body and her health and her mindset. She's very stable and solid and has a lot of wisdom and has a lot of skill and a lot of experience that got her to this point. Nine of Pentacles. Sometimes choosing yourself is choosing your health. It's choosing to leave addictions behind. It's choosing to leave unhealthy people behind. It's choosing to leave your old life behind with the Chariot, because the Chariot is major arcana. The Chariot is a big move. It's not just a small move like, I guess I'm just gonna, maybe hang out with some different people. The Chariot is like, you're literally starting over as a new person a lot of the time, right? So all in all, I'll conclude here. Choosing yourself is choosing your highest timeline with the Wheel of Fortune. And that's really what today's episode is about. Choosing yourself, 2:34 on my time right now. It's 2:34 p.m. Choosing yourself is choosing the higher vibrational version of yourself. Choosing yourself is choosing your higher self. And your higher self is going to be giving you these Ace of Pentacles opportunities to continue to raise your vibration and continue to be on your highest timeline and continue to be walking in your destiny, really. What is best for you specifically, not what's best for everybody. What's best for you specifically, Wheel of Fortune. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. If you would like to support the channel, as always, you can purchase merch through my Etsy shop. Links are down in the description. You can also donate if you want to help me get a new camera and new lights and microphones so I can upgrade the channel. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your likes, comments, shares, subscribes, YouTube currency, as we know. It's been Missy Gordon, the Meta Mystic here, and I will see you on the next one.